I'd like to call this meeting of the City of Sebastian's Natural Resource Board to order. Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Michelle, would you like to do the roll call, please?
Sure. Good evening. First on our list, George Millar.
Present.
Gil Gordian.
Present.
Jim Clifton.
Here.
Rose Glasser.
Here.
Jack Lampiasi.
Here.
Andrea Ring.
Here.
Bob Pergolski.
Here.
Karthi Wiragoda. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any agenda modifications? Anybody needs to bring anything forward? The only thing I would like to say at this time, because of today's election and the requirements of staff to publicize the results, we need to keep the meeting as brief as possible, so we're probably going to be going a little bit quicker than usual through the agenda. With that being said, I'd like to make a motion that the minutes be approved. Is there a second? Jack seconded. Any discussion? Any modifications? Everything's good? Okay. All those approving the minutes from the last meeting of October the 6th, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, it's approved. Unfinished business, oyster restoration projects. Last meeting, we approved for us to go forward. There has been discussion with staff in regards to the location of the mats, and we also received another RAI dated the October 20th, 2015. To keep it brief, with my discussion with Mr. Watanabe, he said that due to the location of our present location of the mats, that they would be submerged all the time and they need to have some time out of the water. Therefore, the St. John's and the Army Corps of Engineers recommended that they be positioned closer to the shorelines and also avoiding any private land or private jurisdiction. Staff also pointed out 2 areas of location that could possibly be used for that, which would be the area south of Mulligan's, between Mulligan's and the kayak and canoe launch area, and then also north of the Main Street boat ramp in that area there also. Definitely not near the launch itself outside of navigable waters. What I would like to see, if possible, and I know this is also contingent on the young man, John, who's doing the Eagle project with this, and we have had some discussions prior to this meeting with, I personally had discussions with John and Mr. Watanabe regarding this issue. It is therefore my recommendation that we change the sites of the oyster mats to be in compliance with what the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and the St. John's Water Management District want to approve, which again would be from Mulligan south to the boat ramp on city property, as well as the area north of Main Street. The square footage is, I believe, less than a quarter acre or up to a quarter acre of the mats. So, you know, that would be dimensions drawn out by John from those criteria.
Mr. Chair, I have another question. Do we
Sure.
need to do a spat test in those 2 areas?
I don't believe so. Was that mentioned since we already did a spat test before?
In 2
Mr.
different
Watanabe?
locations?
I believe it doesn't hurt to do additional tests as needed, but again, to highlight just what you've mentioned, it's all in your packets. Again, due to the shortness of the meeting, all the information for the RAI that was received by Tammy DeBoo And she actually called me prior to releasing the RAI, which is the request for additional information regarding the concerns of the location as well as the property itself, that they prefer to be on government shorelines, city shorelines. And then Michelle and I actually met with St. John's River Water Management District, their project manager, who's going to be helping us in the review process, and he pretty much generated the same comments that Tammy had regarding the depth of the waters and the shorelines. And then St. John's also gave us a new requirements for oyster mats. They have a new general permit they have for low-profile oyster habitats that if we follow their guidelines, it's a pretty much a cookie cutter of getting a permit through them. So I believe if we follow what the chair mentioned, the 2 locations and going within those guidelines, within 30 days, we should have permit in hand.
Excellent.
And Mr. Chair, I knew Frank had talked to Tammy, and I also did too, because I told her, I just want to make sure they get clarification, because I had indicated to her that the sites were actually recommended by DEP, and I was trying to get and I knew Mr. Watanabe would probably talk to her too. But at any rate, yeah, basically said the same thing, and I said, well, DEP had been recommending those, and she said, well, they might still impede boat traffic, and we really think they should be out of the water part of the time. And long story short, yeah, she said, we recommend you move them. And at this point, it's not worth...
Not worth the debate.
Not worth the debate, yes, I agree.
So is there a second in the motion to relocate the mats in compliance with the recommended orders from the St. John's?
Mr. Chair, just one more point on that. I did offer, and Frank may have too, I did offer a field trip with her and said, could you come out and take a look? She said, I'm available by phone if you want to talk more, but I really don't have the time to come out and look at the sites. Just follow what I recommended, and I was not aware of the St. John's, so that matches exactly. So it all sounds good if we follow those guidance. But she really wasn't interested in coming out. She said she had too many other projects going on, and this was a small project. And
Okay, well, I think we need a second to go, for further discussion, though.
Okay.
You second, Gil? Thank you. Jim?
Tonight, I haven't heard any conversation about bags. Is that?
Yes,
Part of the mix?
that's one part of the mix also, is going from the mat arena to the bags, because that's what they also recommend predominantly is the bags. And John's going to have to amend his Eagle Scout project to reflect that.
I'll bring a bag in
With some-
for the December meeting
Okay,
for a show and tell real quick.
okay, excellent. Any other discussion?
The areas near Mulligan's does have oysters. There are oysters that are up against the shoreline and the pilings near Mulligan's.
Okay, great. So that would be an excellent place then, and whatever it takes to maximize the purification. Okay. With that being said, all those approved to the modifications, say aye.
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 Any opposed? There being none. Earth Day updates. How's the
Chair,
website?
just real quick, since John is here, could you maybe have him come up real quick?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. John? Good evening, John. How are you doing tonight?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Great. Doing well. So did you understand what we just did here at the Natural Resource Board meeting and what we approved?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Do you have any other input of how you're going to be able to accomplish this?
What do I want to say?
That's okay.
What?
I know you and I were going to have some discussions within the next couple of weeks. You're going to kind of draw out some of the, our earlier discussion talked about you drawing out a map along the shoreline of where the bags, how far from the shoreline into the water. And you're probably, I think we discussed staying somewhere around 10,000 square feet.
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good. Anything else you'd like to add?
I wanted to tell you that last Wednesday, me and my father went to the zoo, and we spoke to the ladies there, and they told us about the oyster bags.
Okay.
So now I have familiarized myself with the bags, and I do like them better than the mats.
Probably much easier to work with.
Yes.
Good.
and I feel like they're much easier to comprehend on the construction. So, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that you were aware that we did do that.
I didn't know that, but thank you. It's great. I'm glad you've got a plan now to utilize the bags and go with all these modifications. I think one thing during this project that you're learning is you've got to be flexible in anything and everything you do, because the well-thought-out plan sometimes develops hiccups and bumps in the road, and you kind of got to go with the flow and make modifications to accomplish the end result.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, and thank you for your parents also and their support for you and the troop.
Thank you.
Chair, just real quickly, and John, since you're here, I think to expedite this, John, I think it'd be worthwhile for myself and you and maybe the chair to sit down and highlight what you see as the dimensions, and then we'll quickly CAD it up, so that way you could review it and make sure it meets all the requirements before we submit the permit.
Yeah, and hopefully we can get that within the next 2 weeks. Okay?
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Proceeding on, discussion of Earth Day. If we can have an update. I know our ladies have been doing an excellent job with the website and things of that nature. If you would like to give us an update, please.
I have not worked with Michelle or Barbara yet on the website. We haven't set time to get together because of conflict schedules. Barbara has some ideas put together for it, and I have pulled up some pictures from last year. I talked to Alexis Peralta from the chalk art contest, and she gave me a little blurb to put so people will know ahead of time they could go to that and see what she's expecting from them. I did the same thing with Kristen Beck with the wide tire bike challenge and the kayaking. I had a blurb for the recycling with waste management. So all the pieces are coming together. We just need to get a date. They don't like to meet on Fridays, and Monday's my only other day off. So it's just challenging getting together, but we should do that here soon.
Okay, thank you. We have here about music proposals. Was Mr. Gill?
Yes, I'll mention it to Rose and Andrea about, I have 3 people in mind. There's 1 business card that I have on my person now, and I can hand that off to you. And they're willing to set the date and whatever time schedule.
Robert Johnson emailed me today.
Okay.
Instead of being a vendor, he said he didn't sell anything last year, but he was more interested in getting back with the band.
Great.
He said only one of his members got to play last year, so he didn't know what happened, but he liked the whole band. I don't know anything about it, so I haven't got a
Okay.
second email back from him.
I can communicate with Robert also. Okay.
Expenses. Have we had any expenditures yet regarding the Earth Day? I know we have the banner, which we're going to discuss later.
Should be
Video.
just the music, the banner, and any kind of boards we make for information that day.
Do we have any estimates of what that's going to cost yet?
You did the boards,
I'm in the
didn't you?
process of making a couple of banners. If it needs to be done professionally, once I get done with the 2 posters, actually the posters, information posters on the NRB.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't look that great, and then I'll just try to get it done as reasonable as possible.
Did the city do the banner that we are going to
Yeah,
use?
that's coming up
Okay,
later in the agenda a little bit.
so that's it. I have 10 confirmations already, and today I had 2 maybes, depending if they're in town, so don't know. I have 1 food vendor so far. The clam bakes this weekend, and you're not allowed to solicit, but I thought I'd at least go through and see who's there and maybe pick up some business cards that I can contact after the clam bake's over with.
Okay, very good. Mr. Watanabe, how are we doing on our available budget dollars?
Again, I apologize. I should have verified the budget. Based on my early discussions I had with the finance department, the previous budget you had was not rolled over.
Oh, was not?
The current budget you have, I think, was allocated was only $1,000 a share. And with that, because of some of the items that we were talking about early on, we took it upon ourselves to absorb some of those things like a tent and some of like the pointer. But my caution would be to be very cautious. In the past, this commission has not spent a lot of money on Earth Day. I
Right.
think they banked it on previous items they had already purchased and used. But if you're currently in that mode to purchase items for other events, including the Earth Day, you only got 1,000. That
Okay.
includes then any expenditures you have for fuel for boats, or any expenditure comes off that nickel now. So I would be very cautious if you want to bang for the buck towards the end, not spend most of the money up front, but when you start adding up if you add the vendors and add the people, the musics and whatever, posters, whatever, you cannot exceed your budget.
Okay, nor do we want to exceed the budget. We want to stay within those realms. Okay, we'll just see if we can get as many volunteers as possible and donations as possible also to maintain that issue.
Do you think we can get an advertisement in the paper?
I'm sure that we can try, especially in the Sebastian News or Hometown
Okay.
News. They may have some areas where they do, like public notices or, things for
Public
community
calendars.
events. That might be social, possibly I think it's the Blue Turtle. They sometimes advertise different events, just like a one little line statement. We can contact those various media. Rose, if you want to do that, you and Andrea.
The Vero
And just
Beach
see,
Flash will
just
do
see
that
if
for
they're
us, too.
going to, if there's going to be a charge for that, or if they do, PSAs, public service announcements for those things. 'Cause we might be able to utilize that for some advertising.
The calendar of events are always free.
Right, that's what I was thinking. Okay. Any further discussion on Earth Day?
How about the K-9 unit? Has it been taken care of?
I think I saw some
Chief Morris?
communication.
Yeah,
Right.
the Canadian,
They're going to,
it's
great.
confirmed.
And then trivia questions, if anybody has anything they would like to add, I'd be happy to take them. I'm working on a list, but
Okay, so just email them directly to you?
sure, and I'll add them to the list.
Okay, or email them to Michelle, and just so we avoid any
Okay.
issues with sunshine.
Yes.
Okay. There being no further discussion on Earth Day, the clam bake event, if you will turn into your minutes where it discusses the clam bake on page 4 of your minutes, we have the schedule.
You didn't put me down, Mr. Chair.
Well, let's make sure you're there.
I thought you gave me a day.
I thought I did too.
Couple
but,
hours, yeah.
Let's go ahead and see what's open to things. There's,
I would like to give up one of mine.
give up one of yours?
Yeah, I'm on there twice.
Okay,
And Mr. Chair, I'm also added on Saturday morning, and I work all day Saturday, so I cannot do that 10 to 2 slot. I'm only available the Friday night slot.
I can do the 10 to 2.
okay.
Okay.
So
I'll
Gil,
also, yeah, and I'll also bring a paper material handout.
okay.
It's at my house.
One very important thing that we did not have here, just prior to the meeting with our packages, we received the advertisement for the clam bake, and if you'll notice on vendor and exhibitor rules and regulations, number 6, all exhibits must be set up and ready for business by 12 noon on Friday. So we're going to have to, if there's anyone that can come to help me set up the tent and things of that nature on Friday, I would greatly appreciate it. Anybody that's not working or
What
has
hour
the
would
day
you
off.
like to do that?
I think
Friday?
we meet there by 10 o'clock in the morning. I think 2 hours ought to be sufficient to set up the tent, some chairs, maybe your paperwork and things of that nature. So 10 o'clock,
I will not be available.
you will not be?
Yeah, Friday morning I can't.
Okay, when would you be?
To help you set up,
Yeah,
that'll be
Sure.
about 1 PM.
Chair, to help you out because of the, it seems like you need maybe some more bodies. We'll help you on Friday, since
Okay.
we have the tent. It may not be me, but I'll guarantee
Yeah,
one of my staff will be there.
somebody will be there, yeah.
I'll make sure,
Or-
I'll have a person, either Michelle or one of our maintenance person be there to help you out.
Okay, great.
Because it's a new tent too, so we'll help you set it up, and if there's anything you need, it's a perk, so you'll have one of our guys help you out.
Okay, excellent. I did see a hand in our audience from our newest alternative member. I'll just recognize her briefly. If she would like to stand up, her name is Vicki Tunker, I'm sorry. And she was just most recently approved by the City Council as our newest alternate member, so we'd just like to congratulate you. Due to the brevity of tonight's meeting, we'll get some more input from you next week, or next month's meeting. Can you be there at 10 o'clock on Friday? Okay, great. We appreciate your assistance. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if you notice on item line 4, your tent needs to be 6 foot from the sidewalk.
Okay, yeah, well, I'll go
used to
through
be
all
3.
this. I haven't had a chance to review it all, but I know that part that was highlighted was the setup, by noon on Friday, so that's what stood out. So we'll comply with everything else.
Chair,
Yes.
I can't, November 6th, as we've discussed previously, I can't be there on November 6th, but I think you've put me down for November 7th from 2 to 6 o'clock, and from 6 to 9, basically all day on the 7th, most of the day.
Most
And
of
I
the
can
day.
also go November 8th to shut things down with Andrea.
Okay, so that would be 2 to 4:30 with Andrea? Okay. Thank you very much. I'm sorry. Vicki, would you like to, our time schedule is November 6th, 2 to 6, and 6 to 9. Then on the 7th at 10 to 2, 2 to 6, and 6 to 9. Would you like to participate? You're tied up? Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Okay, anybody else? We have Bob here by himself, but 10 to 2 on Sunday morning. Can anybody assist?
Sunday, I can help Bob.
Okay, so Gil,
Sunday, 10 to 2.
excellent. I'm hoping everybody's making notes in their schedule.
Clarification for me on November 7th, I'm off, Gil's taking the time by himself. Is that okay, right?
Okay, well, I'll try to be there also. If you're not
2?
able to make it,
Yeah,
I'll try to be there also.
I'm still on Sunday, though.
Okay, very good.
I'd like to suggest you read through it all, George, and make sure everybody's got all
I
this.
will go through everything, just for clarification. On November 6th at 10 a.m., it will be George, myself, Vicki, and possibly Michelle, or another representative staff to help us set up the tent and the table and chairs. And then Gil will come probably about 1:30 to help as far as any distribution of materials and things of that nature. And we'll also have the sign set up, which we're going to have a brief presentation of in the next few minutes. So the clam bake begins at 2 to 6 p.m., which will be Jack and myself. From 6 to 9 p.m., it will be Bob and Rose. On November 7th, Saturday, November 7th, beginning at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., it will be Gil and George. Okay. On November 7th, 2 to 6 p.m., it will be Kirthy and Jim. From 6 to 9, it will be Jim and Jack. On Sunday, November the 8th, from 10 to 2, it will be Bob and Gil. And on November 8th, 2 to 4:30 p.m., Andrea and Jim. The schedule is basically that we ensure we have minimum coverage for those times. However, I will also reiterate that any board member is welcome to come and be there during any time. I know I'll probably be in and out on various times on all 3 days. So please don't just say, I can only be there during these times, but if you're free and you would like to come and participate, please feel welcome to do so. Any additional, and also please everyone read about the instructions and the rules and guidelines that we need to follow as far as the clam bake. Any other discussions on the clam bake? Yes, Jack?
I just have a question, specifically electrical hookups on some spaces suggest to bring lanterns. Are there going to be lanterns there, or each evening team bring its own lanterns? I'm not sure what we're doing.
I'm not sure if we're going to have electrical access for this. So if individuals have lanterns that they would like to donate for the temporary use during the clam bake, be it battery, be it, I don't know if we can have,
Can't have flame, I wouldn't think.
I'm sorry?
You're not suggesting flame, are you?
Well, I was just trying to think of different type of lanterns that would shield the light. Preferably battery operated or solar would be best. But if there was a lantern someone could help, supply, and just please label it with your name so we can ensure that's returned to you after the clam bake. And does anybody have any lanterns that they're available for?
I'll bring
Okay,
them.
Jack?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm there on Friday, so I'll just put my name on them, we'll leave them right there.
Okay, great.
Assuming that
I'll
the batteries will last.
That's what I'm saying. I'll see if I can bring some more batteries. What size do they take? D probably?
Ds, I'm pretty
Ds? Okay, I'll see if I can get some and bring some extra batteries and make that my donation, plus others. Any other questions? There being none, we can go forward. Next on the unveiling of the new NRB banner. I understand we got notice that it's all ready. And if we could just see this, we can get a dowel, I think, and strap it on. No, it should be like a vinyl, isn't it?
It's on the vinyl. We'll flip it around to show the board.
I tell you, it looks oh, wow. That looks beautiful.
That's good.
Very nice.
It's on a strong vinyl material.
Yep.
It's got the bralette so you guys can.
Great, so we can tie wrap it to a pole and then put the riders down at the bottom, and is that great? Thank you so very much for staff. I think it looks wonderful. We'll be able to show that proudly at the opening with the clam bake.
We want to thank Barbara.
Yeah.
Okay, Barbara, thank you very much. I don't think she's here this evening, but we definitely want to thank her publicly, and hopefully she'll be able to come by at a future meeting or possibly the clam bake or other event that we can thank her personally. So that's great. Was there any like riders like we talked before about like oyster mats or anything like that, little signs or banners or anything?
I think that'll be the next step to discuss
That's the
what you
next
guys
step,
want.
okay.
But it has the ability to do that, so
Okay,
figure that one out and we'll make it happen.
fantastic. Well, thank you so very much for staff. That is wonderful. And we'll be displaying that with the clam bake. Do we have a date yet for the City of Sebastian's winter parade or anything? Is that coming up? Because I know we were having discussion about possibly marching in that.
We'll get you that information.
Okay. I'm just saying this is November, and I'm just
Yeah,
concerned.
I think your meeting's before they call it the Christmas parade. We'll make sure you get that information.
Okay, you think we'll have a meeting, though, prior to that, right?
You'll have a meeting in December, correct?
Right, okay.
I'm pretty sure it's the first Saturday in December.
Yeah.
Which would be Saturday, the 5th? Okay. Okay, yeah, because December 1st is on the Tuesday, first Tuesday, so we'll have a meeting on that day.
5th. Yep.
Okay. At this time, is there the members of the public that are present here tonight, would they like to have any comments or anything for the meeting? There being none, we'll go to the next, new business. The island adoption for the cleanup. I know, I believe Gil brought this up. Would you like to discuss it at this time, Gil?
Mr. Chair, nothing has come up yet as far as availability on an island. They will get back to me.
Okay,
before 2016.
okay, so hopefully we'll have some information by next board meeting. Okay, excellent. Staff matters. Mr. Watanabe?
None tonight.
Michelle?
None tonight?
Thank you. Member matters. Again, I would like to recognize our newest alternate member, Vicky Tunker. Thank you, I'm sorry. Vicky Tunker, and like I said, we'll get some additional comments from you next board meeting, just for the brevity of tonight's. Any other meetings beginning down at this end down here? Any? None? Jim? Nothing? Gil?
No, sir.
Okay.
Good.
Andrea?
None for me.
Rose?
No.
Okay.
None.
Bob? Okay, and I have none at this point. Items for the next agenda meeting. Would anybody like to bring anything forward? How are we doing with the giant tree? I think we have, I heard that we have the measuring equipment.
I have yet to get it.
Okay,
But once we do have it in hand, we'll put together a training program
okay,
and start measuring some trees.
great, great. I know there'll be new updates with the oyster bags and the oyster project for the lagoon. We will report regarding the success of the clam bake and how that worked out with us having a booth there. And probably more discussion on Earth Day, and hopefully a schedule for the parade or what we can do and who's going to be available for that. Okay, great. Any other items anybody would like to bring forward? There being done, I'd like to adjourn this meeting of the Natural Resource Board.